Welcome to the show, everyone. Tonight, is February the 19th, and Friday night, pretty night in Florida. I don't know what it's like over there in Texas, but Regina will let us know. I'm the host for tonight's show, it's Teresa, and Regina's going to co-host. Tonight's show is going to be Steve DiSchiavi, and he's going to be on. A great guy, man. I've talked to him a couple times, and real nice, informative guy, and you're going to like our show tonight with him. He's kind of really cool. I like his New York accent too, so just want to kind of mention that. I believe that our guest is now with us, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. Hi, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Hi, Teresa. How are you?
It's been a while since we've gotten to talk, so we're really excited to have you on. And my co-host is Regina. She's kind of in the background there. She'll kind of join us back and forth. And I just want to let you just kind of introduce yourself for those who, have never really watched the Dead Files or even know who you are. If you'll just kind of give them a little inside info of who you are and how that happened for you.
Inside info, that could take days. That's a tough one to start out with. I don't know how to introduce myself. I'm a retired detective from New York. I worked in homicide, and I worked with a physical medium on a TV show called The Dead Files. We're in our fifth year of airing on TV, and we're in the middle of filming our ninth television series, or ninth television season, I should say. And the eighth season will be airing April 2nd, hopefully, if they don't change the date again on us. And it's an interesting show. It pairs a retired homicide detective from New York who's a bit of a skeptic, and I work with a physical medium, and if anybody's seen that movie, The Sixth Sense, that's what Amy does. Her name's Amy Allen, and she's pretty amazing with her abilities. And we work on the same case together, but separately. So neither one of us knows what the other one is doing until the very end. And we sit down with our clients and we try to figure out what the hell is haunting their house and how to get rid of it. What you see on TV is just the tip of the iceberg. I start my investigation probably 30 days prior to even getting to the location, pulling the property deeds, chain of title, all that stuff. And then delve into whatever major history may involve the property, but I really don't know what's going on until I talk to the clients. And I talk to the clients beforehand, obviously, because I vet them and we make sure that they're not, your basic lunatic trying to get on TV and somebody just trying to exploit our show to be on television. And that's why 99% of our episodes are middle of the road families and small restaurants and businesses like that. But it's a unique concept that I bring my investigative end to it, whereas it's kind of like doing a criminal investigation, just that the perpetrator in my case is the paranormal, not some street dog. So that's basically the only difference in my investigation. I'm not interrogating anybody like I used to. I'm basically just doing witness statements and stuff like that. But, it's still an investigation, a pragmatic investigation for me on my end, and her end's totally, obviously, different than mine.
Now, on that end, Steve, whenever you're doing that, it's kind of similar. Do you realize when people are kind of feeding you a line of BS, when you're talking to them, can you read them, like their body language through, like your work as a police officer in an investigation and as a detective?
Yeah, I'm pretty, that's where my talent lies. I don't have any kind of, medium, psychic ability at all, but I have a street sense of when people are BSing and when they're not. Most people believe, on our investigations, they believe what's going on, and just because they say it's paranormal doesn't necessarily mean it's paranormal. They may believe it's paranormal. Some people embellish to try to push the point home But I read through that. Doesn't mean that what's going on in the house is not legit. It's just that, some people may say, oh, my light bulb keeps going out and, the door just slammed shut. Like, well, when you got windows and doors open on both ends, the windows do that, and you got a bad light bulb, go buy a new one, stuff like that.
And you got me to giggle on that one because the debunking part of that is great. Yeah, because I know we've been there. It's kind of an interesting thing, and you handle it very well when we watch you. Your facial gestures and stuff like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get a lot of Facebook comments. They cut a lot. I mean, probably 90% of my questions get edited out and it gets cut. Which is annoying for me. But I've learned to appreciate my facial expressions kind of paint its own story. And people, I really don't have to say much anymore. People can just figure out what I'm thinking when I put my face.
Very, very easy, because you could tell when you're sitting there, your eyebrows will go up. It's really neat to see. And you already know what you're thinking, when it does that, when we're watching you. We really love the show. We really, really do.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're glad you have. So is there, I did have another question, because I know that, you do a lot of the little talk, the little radio talk, blog talk things with a lot of people. And I know it probably gets monotonous after a while. But I also, with reading your bio and everything else to get ready for our introduction to you, you had mentioned a web series on the Travel Channel 2 that you do called Blue Plate. Am I doing that right? Am I saying that?
Yeah, Blue Plate. We only did the one episode that's on the website now. We wanted to do more, but Travel Channel has gone through a whole restructure as far as management goes, and hopefully we're going to revisit it, and we'll be able to do it again, and I'm hoping it'll get picked up for a TV show. It got well received on the website because it shows a different side of me. It shows like me when I'm not working, which is a pretty comical, happy-go-lucky side, especially when it comes to food, because obviously I like to eat. If you've seen the show, you can just look at me and know I like to eat. So that we're hoping is going to get some legs now that management's been restructured and people are kind of settled in.
Elaborate on what it's about, or?
Yeah, know what it was? It was an idea I came with a few years ago, and everybody I work with is a lot younger than me, and they depend on. These millennials depend on the internet and Yelp for everything. It drives me absolutely batshit crazy, and I just, it drives me nuts. So they get to a place, and they'll go on Yelp to see where the places to eat and all this other stuff. And for me, I call the cops. I go to the police station. I'm like, yo, guys, what's a good place to eat? Because cops always know where to eat. So that was the concept of the show. Even in my private life, when I take vacations, when I was married and I was with my family, I'd call the local cops or jump into the police station and say, guys, listen, I'm here on vacation. What's a good spot to eat? And they'll be like, all right, whatever you do, don't go eat here, but definitely go to this place. Tell them we sent you and all this kind of stuff. And 99.9% of the time, it's always been great. So this would be interesting for me to just hook up with the local cops and take me in. And not only is it the food part, it's the backstory of the people that own the restaurants and how they got started. And if you watch the Blue Plate webisode, what we call a webisode on the Travel Channel website, you'll see that the restaurants each have their own story. So it's almost like a storyline plus a food thing, which is nice because everybody's got a story. Everybody has a history. Everybody's interesting. It's just bringing that to the forefront. The food is just kind of like almost not an afterthought, but part of it, and then mingling with the cops, because cops always getting a bad rap in the news. So this would show the lighter side of the police officers and how they, go through a 12-hour tour or an 8-hour tour and 10 minutes to eat, but if they got 10 minutes to eat, they better find someplace good, So that's a big part of it. It was just a fun thing to do. It's a light side of life, and it's not so serious like the Dead Files is.
Yeah, it's a totally different genre for you. I like that. It's, be interesting to watch. I'm going to have to go and check it out.
Yeah, I think if people saw it and watched it, they'll see a totally different Steve as opposed to who they see. And I'm the same guy. I'm just, I'm not working doing an investigation. I'm actually out there, hanging out with cops and eating food and talking to the people that own the restaurant and how they got started. And, we had one restaurant in Texas that a hurricane came through, destroyed the whole restaurant, and the whole town came together because it had been around for years and years, and the whole town actually pitched in and rebuilt this whole restaurant. And it was a real interesting story, and it was a little heartwarming to hear this family that lost everything, but the whole town came together and put this restaurant back on track, and the food was really good, And when it comes to food, I'm all about the food. Well, it's funny because I ate some stuff on that show we did, a pilot, that I never ate before. So, like booty balls, or whatever the hell it was called. I didn't know what the hell that was. And, the guys looking at me, you never had a booty ball before? I'm like, I'm from Brooklyn, and when the hell would I ever have a booty ball, Yeah, and, I ate some shrimp po' boy in a place that had bait in the name of the restaurant. And I'm like, I'm not eating in a restaurant that's got the name bait in its title, But it turned out to be a really, really good place. Great. I had a shrimp po' boy that all the way, whatever the hell they called it, and it was pretty interesting. So it's a little bit different from the Dead Files, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. It does get to see a little bit more of your personality.
Yeah, it's funny. I run into people all the time, and my girlfriend will tell you, like, when we run into people, they'll be like, "Oh my God, you actually smile," and I'm like, "Yeah, I smile, I laugh, I do all of the above."
The next season's coming up. Where do you see Dead Files going? I mean, is that something, an insight you can kind of give us? In your own perspective, do you see it continuing?
You know what? I wish I had a crystal ball, but TV is such a unreliable and very volatile business that we're filming. We're almost finished filming. We only have 2 more episodes for this season. Now, the season we wrapped in July of last year will start airing in April. It should have aired in January, but it didn't. And for some reason, Travel Channel pushed it to April 2nd. So the season you'll see in April, starting April 2nd, we filmed last year, and it finished filming in July. And the season we're filming now, that we only have 2 episodes left, hopefully, from what we're told, should air in August of this year. But, I can never say with a guarantee what's going to happen. I'm hoping after August comes and they air a new episode that we'll be filming another season past that. But, that's not up to me or our producers. It's up to the network. If it's up to the fans, I mean, our ratings are really, really, really high. But, all it takes is one person to walk in and say, hey, well, I don't like this. We're going to go in a different direction. And next thing you know, I'm working at Costco. So who knows? I'm hoping that's not the case. I met a woman now that I want to have a great future with. And working at Costco might not be a great way to start a new life. So we'll see what happens.
And I have to giggle at that because I'm sure that she would like you any way you come there, Steve. That she'd be happy with you.
Yeah, and that's why I love her. She just she could care less if I was washing dishes or being on TV. And I'm very lucky in that aspect.
I've been seeing it, I've been seeing your posts and stuff, and I'm so excited for you on that. And I didn't know whether or not to bring that up or not, but you did. So
yeah, I'm in love. Yeah, I'm on cloud 9. It's I'm gonna be 53 in May, and I thought I knew all about life and love, and I just realized that I was never ever in love in my life until now. So it's a great feeling, and it's very different. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, you deserve it.
I appreciate it.
And Steve, I'm gonna bring my co-host on too, and I know that she wants to jump in here and talk a little bit with you.
Hey there. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Regina, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Well, I just want to kind of jump right in there and ask you some questions about your Diamond Eye investigations, because growing up before, well, a lot of things changed along the way, and I ended up taking another path, but I wanted to investigate. I wanted to do criminal investigations, and that's what I wanted to do for the longest. So it's that aspect of who you are. I have a lot of interest in that. So, but anyways, I was just wondering, since you are filming and you're very busy with dead files and stuff, do you have time to take on any cases with your company, or how does that work?
Yeah, I had a company when I was in New York called Paragon Investigations. I had that company for years up in New York, and I was doing a lot of problem up in New York is everybody's a PI, everybody's investigating. It's hard to get. It's not hard to get work, but everybody's going after the same thing, and it's just a very competitive field. And I wind up doing a lot of armed bodyguard work, a lot of high-end security work as part of also doing private investigations. So I closed my company up in New York, and I opened up another one down here in Florida called Diamond Eye. And I have no time whatsoever while I'm doing the show to do any kind of side work. I got asked to go to Dubai for some security work, and I had to turn it down. And it's just it's hard, because what'll happen is I have no clientele right now. I can't get people to work for me because I can't keep on top of it. I can't do a client justice by being on the show, and because I'm not going to take an investigation that I can't throw myself in 110%. So I won't take on any cases while I'm doing the show. And even when I'm on the break, I'm not really on a break. I mean, when Amy's on a break, she's on a break. When I'm on a break, we're looking at future cases if we're going to be doing more episodes. So even when we're on our downtime in between seasons, I'm going through all the vetting for new cases that we're going to do for the following season. So it's a little tough for me. I really don't have any downtime. And the little downtime I have now, I spend with my girl. I'm not, and that's the most important thing for me right now. So I'd rather do that than do some extra work. Unfortunately, if anybody's looking for me to do work for them.
Right. Well, and that's what I figured. It's a lot goes into these shows that people don't. They see what the hour-long show every week, and they don't think past that. They don't think about how much work goes into making these shows.
It's funny. Somebody asked me one time, how long does it take you to film an episode? I said, well, it takes 8 days. We do about 80 hours of footage, and I film approximately 70 hours of that footage. Amy will do the other 10 on it, 8 to 10 hours. But I do about 70 hours worth of filming that, I don't know, 90% of it never makes it to air. If you go on the website, you'll see like missing, not missing, but other interviews that never made the show. What they call, what we call it a webisode, but what it is, let's say I do 15 interviews during my client day where I talk to the client. Only 4 will make it to air, and the other 9 will make it to the cutting room floor and or be on the Travel Channel's website for the extra scenes, so to speak. And then, you put all that hours in, all those interviews in, and, it's tough for the editors. I mean, it's 80 hours of footage that they got to cram into 42 to 44 minutes. The reveal alone takes up 9 minutes, and the reveal takes us anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, depending on how it's going. So, I wouldn't want that job of trying to edit 80 hours of footage into 42 minutes.
Right. Well, and it's kind of like what we do with investigating, and we film these investigations for sometimes 8 hours, and then we have to go back and go over that. But it takes us days, to go over that. So I kind of understand that aspect of it. But then, like you were saying earlier, that's just the filming portion. That's not the your research. That's just that part. You have, and then when you're home or whatever, you're doing the all the background and the research on the homeowners and everything else. So
I mean, it's a lot of work that and people. It's odd. I'll get like we'll be an episode. Like I'll put on my Facebook page. For a new episode. Oh, we're going to be in Copeland, Texas tonight. And people go, oh, where are you? I want, where are you guys filming? I'd like to come meet you. And I'm like, what do you think? We're filming in real time? I mean, we filmed that 8 months ago. It takes about 5 months before an episode's ready for airing, between editing and everything else. So, I crack up sometimes when people are like, oh, you're in Texas tonight, or you're in Missouri tonight. I'm like, no, I'm home in Florida tonight. You're watching something I did. You're watching something I did 8 months ago.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, I kind of want to take this back to the private investigating because I'm just curious, like when you were investigating for private cases and stuff. I probably sound just kind of like I just want to know everything about that type of business. But what is like the number one reason that people would need a private investigator?
The majority of it is usually husbands and wives with their husbands and wives, checking into them, see if they're cheating on them. I never took those cases. I did a lot of work for lawyers, tracking down witnesses for cases on them. I did a couple of homicide cases for insurance companies where the cases weren't solved, and there was aspects of it that the insurance company that would have to pay out wanted us to investigate. So it was almost like doing a homicide a cold case, so to speak. So I did a lot of that work. I turned down a lot of work because we get a lot of work from defense attorneys, and I just turned that work down. I mean, I'd rather sleep at night than try to get a witness to get some piece of crap off the street. I just couldn't do that, and there's plenty of work out there for that. So in the PI business is not as glamorous as it sounds. It's not Mike Hammer, and it's very it's very painstaking because a lot of the work morally is hard to accept. Like I wouldn't take cases from defense attorneys unless it was something I truly believed in, where somebody was wrongfully arrested or accused of murder, that I thought when I looked at the case folder that they didn't do it. I would do that type of work. But, the majority of work I wind up taking was armed bodyguard work, which is another story in itself. It's not that's not as glamorous as it sounds either.
Well, have you been approached or ever thought about like having a show that's solely based on your experience being a private investigator, or that aspect of your life?
Well, it's funny. When I first got together with Jim Casey, who created the Dead Files, that's how I met him. I was on a documentary for ABC News called NYPD 24/7, and that's how I got basically, I hate using that word, discovered. I got noticed is a better word I like to use. And we did a pilot where I was doing private investigations for TV, but that all the networks back then said I was too New York and too gruff for television, so to speak. And, I was too street and too Brooklyn for them, and they were looking for the next, Mike Rowe, that Dirtiest Jobs type guy, and I was just too rough around the edges for the networks at the time. And it was funny because when the Dead Files came about, and he approached me, he said, "Would you consider doing a paranormal show?" And I was like, "You out of your mind?" And I turned him down. I'm like, "You're crazy. I'm not doing a paranormal show." And when we sat down and ironed out the details about it, I said, "Well, this could be interesting. It actually kind of shows me being an investigator, and I'm not walking around trying to find a ghost or see what's going on in a haunted house, because I have absolutely zero interest in the paranormal. People seem to think I'm a paranormal guy, and my interest is in the client and helping them, no matter what the case is. And if people are suffering from paranormal activity, I used to use, when I was doing my PI work, if I was doing security for a corporation, I'd hire tech guys to come in to sweep a room for bugs to see if anybody was listening in. I would utilize bomb dogs to make sure that there was no explosives in these meetings. For me, Amy to me is another a utilized asset for an investigation, and that's the way I looked at it. I'm like, well, all right, if I'm going to investigate the paranormal, I got to bring someone here to know what the hell they're doing. So I don't know anything about the paranormal. So for me to bring her in and say, all right, do your thing, I'll do mine, and let's figure out how it works. And, I'm the one that came up with the idea of the sketch artist. I'm like, well, if she's seeing somebody, let's put a sketch artist with her and make it a real investigation. And the sketch winds up being a big part of the show, which is important because it brings validity to the case.
Well, it does, and that reveal, it's one of my favorite parts of the show because, like y'all were talking earlier, to see to see your face whenever they do the reveal, and you're just like, it's almost like we can all read your mind. You're like, you really saw that? Like you really saw that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes she'll do two sketches. She'll do a sketch of somebody she saw, and then she'll do of what she sees the clients going through, and that's usually the one that's, holy crap, this is what you're actually going through at night. And and when she does a sketch, and I put it on the table, and the clients are like, oh my God, I can't believe that's going around me while I'm sleeping in bed at night. It kind of hits home really hard for them. And sometimes I don't even want to show them the sketch, and it's a little heartbreaking.
Well, it is, because most of the time it's very eerie, and I'm sure they know what they're going through, what they're feeling, but they don't realize what it is. And
no.
So, but anyway, so that's one of my favorite, probably my favorite part of the show is the reveal at the end. But anyways, I could probably pick your brain all night about anything that has to do with criminal justice and stuff, but Teresa would probably kill me. So
yeah, I get a lot of private messages on Facebook in regards to I get a lot of people that are doing work for college or school on criminal justice, and they'll hit me up and ask me a bunch of questions about stuff like that, and I try to help them out the best I can, but it's a little difficult because of my time constraint. But I get a lot of questions on that end of it. And then when people ask me on Facebook, what do I do when I see what's a black shadow mean? I'm like, got the wrong Facebook page. Go ask Amy. I don't know what the hell to tell you.
Right. Well, I think my last question is probably going to be like, for those people out there that are interested in getting into criminal justice, whether it be being a police officer or whatever aspect they're wanting to get into, what would you suggest? I mean, like, what would the first thing be that they need to do, to check into that? It's
a pretty broad question. The thing is, a lot of people think that, you wake up, you're a homicide detective. That's not how it works. A lot of people go, I want to be a CSI. And, my head spins when I watch these CSI shows, because it drives me crazy because it's all nonsense. Like most 99.9% of detectives, they started out walking a foot post, and then went to a radio car, and then from a radio car went into plain clothes, into narcotics. that's how I came up. I didn't just wake up one morning and I'm a homicide detective. You got to earn your bones, and people think you can go to college and look at me, I'm an investigator. That's not how it works. A background in criminal justice helps, but to be perfectly blunt, it don't mean crap until you're on the street. It's the only way you're going to learn. Is you're not going to learn anything from a book. You're not going to learn anything from watching television. You don't learn anything until you're working with people that know it and have experienced it and know what they're doing. And life experience in police work is the only thing that's going to get you through. You're not going to learn anything in a book. That being said, obviously education is very important, but the problem with today is they put so much emphasis on, the guy's got a degree, he must be sharp enough to be, or she could be sharp enough to be an investigator. Well, that's not always the case. People got to have common sense, and that's not taught in a book. You got to have a sense of humor and compassion. Today, nobody's got compassion. They're too busy looking at their cell phones. They don't even know how to talk to people. You walk into a crowded restaurant and you see 5 people sitting at a table and everybody's on their phones. They're not even talking to each other. So, for me, if you want to be in the law enforcement field or any kind of investigative field, you got to learn to start talking to people face to face, and you got to learn how to be empathetic, and you have to have common sense. And you better have a sense of humor. That's for certain.
Yeah.
So if you want to, yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, honestly, I have a couple of girlfriends that their kids are going through the academy or have been through the police academy, and so they're starting at the bottom, and so they're going to walk the beat, and then they're going. The best thing is, from listening to you, is just for them to just work their way up that ladder. And,
and trust me, in the long run, that experience. First of all, you're going to get a lot more respect coming up that way. If you're a guy that went to the academy and then had a desk job for 5 years, and all of a sudden they say, all right, let's put this girl or this guy into the homicide squad. Do you have any idea what the homicide detectives are going to think of that person? It's going to be like, what? First of all, what are you doing here? What did you earn? Or how did you earn your way into this unit, If you don't, it's like everything else. Without life experience on the street or any job, can you imagine working in any job at all? So you working hard all the way up to get to a certain position, and then somebody comes walking in that has no experience, takes that position. It's the same thing in police work. It's the same exact thing, Or when you get bosses that are in charge of people that are doing real police work that never did real police work in their life. They were pencil pushers and were able to take tests. So, it's what goes on behind the scenes is very different than what people really. It's not TV. Let's put it that way.
Well, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me pick your brain on all that.
Yeah, I don't know if I answered any of your questions, but that's just my philosophy on a lot of this stuff.
Well, that hearing from somebody who has the experience is always good, and then especially for our listeners that are young people just getting involved, for them to hear from somebody who's experienced is always a good thing. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for, like I said, for letting me pick your brain. I'm gonna hand it over to Teresa now.
Okay, Regina, it was good talking with you.
You too.
Well, hey, Steve, I got you back now, and I was going to say, some good points there because I don't think everybody understands. I think that television kind of made people, it glamorized maybe the paranormal a little bit too much that they forgot a little bit of what's really involved. And even on your side, when you're talking about how much work goes into it. I don't think that that a lot of the listening audience really sees that part. They only see the part that they're putting out on TV, like you said, the pre-edited, all the stuff that's glorified, and they don't know how much work, goes into it. Yours is the only one like that, really. that I've seen out there that kind of shows, that you have to go, and they show you sitting doing the actual work and opening books and going and seeing the different people that you have to go see, even the pathologists and stuff like that, just to talk to them to get more information.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, like, I have to line up, or I have assistants, obviously. I have to line up at least 3 or 4 of the same type of people that I may need to talk to, because, when we're at location ready to film, and it happened to us this last episode we worked, somebody pulled out last minute on us. And we had to scramble to get somebody to talk about this history that actually knew it. And so thank God we have those backups in place, because if we didn't, we would wind up spending another 2 days on location. And and spending more than 8 days is not, especially if you're in a place like, where the town has got one restaurant and there's 35 people living in it. It's really not a place you want to be for 9 days straight with no place to eat, and the hotel sucks, and you're just like, oh, another couple of days here. So there's a lot more that goes into it. And you line up historians, genealogists, cops that you need to talk to about certain things. We had a historian just pulled out on us because they were uncomfortable talking about the history of the town and this person. And I'm like, well, are we saying anything that's not the truth? And they're like, no, I just feel uncomfortable about it. Well, if we're trying to tell you to tell a lie, I can understand you being uncomfortable. Some people are just very protective of their town and the people that lived in it. So, there are certain battles that we deal with.
It reminds me of whenever I went to Salem. Everybody has kind of glorified it with all the TV shows and stuff like that, but in reality, we did something bad here. We didn't do something good. We did something bad.
And I get it to a point, but I mean, it's our show is fact checked constantly. Unlike, I'm not going to mention any names, but I guarantee you, 99% of the shows out there, the information that they're putting out on television, most of it's bull. They'll make stuff up just to make the show. We get fact checked, and I refused to do the show unless I knew it was going to be totally legit, and that anything we spoke about was verified by a university or firsthand knowledge or a descendant. I wasn't going to do anything that's, let's just make it up, to make the show look good. And I refuse to do that, and we don't do that. We could get, with all honesty, we can have anybody fact-check all our information that we put out there, and they'll see that there's no lies about it. So, and I'm very proud of that, actually.
Your show is different than some of the others where you go, okay, there's some things going on that everybody else is kind of aware of, but they don't really talk about it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because everybody, I'll get Facebook messages. How come guys don't use a ghost box or but I'm like, what the hell would I need that for? I got a woman that's actually talking to the real dead people. Why would I need a machine? That would make no sense. If I got a woman that actually could talk and see the people that are dead, what the hell would I need a voice box for? We don't do any of that, turning on the lights, and when you work with a physical medium, there's no reason to do that. So we don't, even photos. I use photos that clients have, and I'll show them to Amy, but you can't authenticate a digital photo. It can't be authenticated, so I just use it as a tool, but I take it with a grain of salt, because anybody could doctor a photo, as everybody knows today with today's digital world we live in. The only real film can be analyzed and can be verified or authenticated. So if somebody hands me a photo they took on their iPhone, there's so many apps out there that can do anything with a photo. For us, I'm not going to use it, I use photos if people show me scratches or stuff like that. What's interesting about the new season coming up, actually not this season, for the next season coming up, the beginning of this filming season, we had a young girl. Well, I say young. She was in her early 20s. She got attacked while I was on a break outside the house. And I heard screaming coming from inside the house, and I ran in, and there was the mother screaming, shouting from the Bible. And right in front of my eyes, this girl had 3 scratches well up right on her chest. And, the whole camera, it was caught on camera. The whole 9 yards was caught on camera, which was pretty interesting. It was the first time in over 100 episodes that's ever happened. So, this upcoming season is going to be really interesting with clients and history. And, we had a woman that was blind being terrorized. Imagine being blind and being terrorized by the paranormal. You had a woman whose husband was overseas for over a year and a half working, and she was home alone with her daughters dealing with the paranormal. And, I actually Skyped with the husband on camera while he was in, I can't disclose the location he was at because it was a sensitive area, but, I Skyped with him, and we filmed all that. I mean, that's, a lot of stuff in this upcoming season is going to be interesting for people to see. We had reincarnation stuff pop up. We had a couple, a family whose son was gay and moved in with his, his partner. And as soon as they moved in, the house went berserk. It was just some wild stuff happened. And we went to Hawaii. Our last episode of the season was in Hawaii last year. And Pearl Harbor, the attack in Pearl Harbor actually played into what was going on, as far as the paranormal went on the location we were doing, which blew my mind because obviously I have a military background. My father and uncles all fought in World War II, so it was, and the place we did was a plantation that was adjacent to Pearl Harbor. So that's going to be a real interesting episode to watch if you're a history buff. So it's funny because every year we go, I don't know how we can get a better season than we just filmed, and sure enough, we wind up filming another extraordinary season of, for me, the clients are the most important thing, and it's not about me or Amy or Matt or the paranormal. It's about the client. It's a story about human beings more so than anything else.
Do you actually sometimes make friends with some of these people? Keep that connection, some of these that you felt like that?
Oh, you mean with the clients? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm still friends with a lot of the clients. If I'm in the area where if we're in the area where they, we're filming again, I'll meet up and say hello. I don't know if you guys remember, but Lori and Mark, he was a Chicago cop in Chicago. They actually moved down to Florida here, so I'm still in touch with them a lot. There was a client from the first season in Ybor City that had the hotel when I was back down here in Florida looking to move down here. I stopped by and said hello with them, hung out with them for the day. You're talking 100. We just finished our 111th episode, so there's a lot of clients out there. No, I'm just saying, they'll hit me up on Facebook. I'll keep in touch with them that way and see how they're doing, which is nice, because especially when they're doing much better than they were when we first got there.
Well, and I think it helps them, too, to get some kind of it's like a closure thing for them, just to even get a validation that, hey, you're not nuts, these things are kind of, happening to you. You're not, you don't need to go check yourself in, to the state hospital.
Yeah. I always go into these cases thinking, well, they're saying this, and this, and I'm like, all right, and I'll look and I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you. I'm taking all of my notes and everything. But then Amy will come in, and I know for a fact she doesn't know anything about the clients or the location beforehand. And she'll say something like, well, I believe that a female that lives in this house is having these weird dreams, and sure enough, this is what's going on. Or they may see a black mist coming out of this certain room, and sure enough, they have just told me that, So, I sit at the table, people, I'll never get used to listening to her talk about stuff that I know she has no knowledge of. So for me, it's mind-boggling every week.
So did it change your mind, actually, about people that have abilities,
Well, you know what it was? I was always open-minded about that stuff, and I had used a couple of psychics on a couple of homicide cases I had. And, nothing ever panned out for me. but I've always had an open mind. I do believe in people have abilities. I do think that something happens after you die. I don't think that, it's just you're gone. But I also don't believe there's a lot of people out there that are fakes that are making money off of, a lot of baloney. So, that's the part. And what happens is you get a person like Amy in her field and her abilities, or like Kim Russo, who I'm friends with, people like that, or that have actual real abilities, and then you have these people that fake it, make them look bad. And then that's the sad part. It's like with cops, too. Like, one cop does something bad, everybody's a bad cop. You know what I mean?
No, it's I have highest respect for any police officer, anybody that's doing. Both my brothers are in the Brothers of Blue. I guess that's what you want to call it. So I have a high respect for that.
I was noticing in the chat room, everybody's just saying, "Tell them we love them. Tell them we love the show."
I appreciate it. I really appreciate my fans, and I shouldn't say my fans, but the fans of the show. And without the fans, I tell everybody the same thing. I mean, there's no Dead Files without our fans, and we have the greatest fans ever. And I always appreciate. And whenever I meet a fan, like today, I was at breakfast in a diner, and three different people came up to me as I was eating, and I stopped eating and I took photos with them because you know what, my meal could wait. The fans are more important to me, so I really appreciate everything that they do as far as supporting the show and watching it.
Oh, that's great. And I follow you on Facebook and everything, and I always love seeing those pictures of you with the crew of the show.
Yeah.
And it just seems like all of y'all just really get along, and it's one big kind of like just another family, an extended family.
Yeah, we are. We have a lot of laughs. We're a dysfunctional family, but we have a lot of laughs. I'm Uncle Steve to everybody. They come up to me with their problems, and it's like we're a big crew. There's 15 of us on the crew, and it's just when you're traveling together and working with each other and living, we spend 14-hour days together. It's there's going to be a little skirmishes here and there, but we all love each other at the end of the night, so it's all good.
Well, thank you for being on the show and giving us an hour of your day. And
no, I appreciate
really
you guys having me on. No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I mean, it's been a while, so we've been talking about getting on. So I enjoyed talking with you guys, and we talked about something different for a change. Regina asked me some PI questions I wasn't ready for, but I appreciate you asking.
Well, sure. I had to do it. I mean, it's just that's one thing that interests me. So I was like, I've got to go that route.
Yeah, I tell people I do a lot of radio shows, I do a lot of podcasts, and I tell them right away. I said, if you're going to ask me any paranormal questions, you're wasting an hour because I got no answers. I don't know what to tell you. I got no answers on the paranormal. You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that.
No, thank you very much, Stephen, and we'll be getting with you and keep in touch, okay?
I appreciate that, guys. And if the fans are asking, April 2nd will be the premiere of the new season, and it's going to be probably one of the best Dead File seasons ever. So I hope they get to watch it and enjoy it.
And they'll need to go check out your little website.
Yeah, Blue Plate. Yeah, give it a shout. Okay, look it up on the Travel Channel's website, and it's fun. You'll really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you again. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, guys, take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye now.
Blessings to everybody. God bless y'all, and stay safe, okay? And Teresa's signing off, and Regina, you have a great night too.
Thank you, everybody.